in the world blind. Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, so do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors of your problems just to savor. I've got my own issues, I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you, just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
That's it, the end of the song. Next time you'll sing along. Trust me, there's nothing wrong. I just need to carry on, cause society's a myth put there to make you sit. Listen to what they give. Don't ask questions, shut your lid. Yeah, don't ask questions, shut your lid. I need to run away from this and go get off the grid. Feel like my brain is overloaded, man, I'm losing it. Don't let them tell you what to do, man, they don't know shit.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? So welcome. I guess you could probably say, us in another, I would say free MLB free agency, but a kind of all season kind of thing. Obviously, the title says which teams do want Trevor Bauer. Obviously, for those who have not really heard that Trevor, really picked up, kind of really paid attention that Trevor Bauer has been reinstated by the MLB, all that stuff. But before I get into it, if you guys are new, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But if you guys would decide to join the membership program, check the pinned comment below or in the link into the description. We did kind of fix a few things for the membership program, so make it easy for you guys who want to become channel members, because finally for us giving it back to you guys, and obviously kind of giving something in return, because we're gonna have because we do want to try to give some kind of like some like fans, the fans who do want to become channel members, they don't separate shows and whatnot. But with that being said, let's just kind of hop right into it. So I wrote down threes, but probably say 8 different teams I could say they could use something like a Trevor Bauer. And, where do I think he could go? But before we get into it, what's good, Lady Kenzie? Appreciate you coming in as well. Shout out to everybody. One team in particular I actually want to bring up via Fangraphs is the Oakland Athletics. Now, the Oakland Athletics, God, where do I even want to begin? I mean, for a team that's like very low market, has a low payroll, just like the Baltimore Orioles and just some of these other low payroll teams. But yeah, if you look at this rotation, it is outside of Caprelli. If you looked at it right now, outside of Cole Irvin and Caprellian, not much to go off of. And, especially the number 5 spot is where I'm going to, let's just say I'm going to put a question mark right next to that. Because I feel like the A's, I think they could use like a Trevor Bauer, in my honest opinion, because Cole Irvin had a decent year. Like I said, we go back to his stats. So far, posted a 3.398 ERA in 30 games started, 181 innings pitched. Strikeout 128, which is impressive for someone like Cole Irvin, who was our late 5th round pick, to 36 walks. What's good, normal guy? What is good? Appreciate you coming in as well. Kind of talk a few things about where Trevor should go since being reinstated. But like I said, decent season. Not, I would say, the greatest. And the fact that these, let's just say, he's pretty much the quote-unquote ace of the staff. Like I said, outside of Irving and Caprellian, who's your 1 and 3, Paul Blackburn, like I said, go back to what his stats were in 2022, a 4.28 ERA and 21 games started. 100 110 hits, walked 32, 89 strikeouts. To be quite honest, I think the A's could be an option. Just because, Drew Rosinski, like I said, I don't know much about him. Like, there's nothing on him. Like, Ken Waldichuk, nothing on him either. Let's see what it's. Yeah, very short sample size, a 4.93 ERA in 7 games started, 34 and 2/3 innings pitched, 10 walks to 33 strikeouts. So that's really nothing to much. What's good? What is good? What is good? Yeah, did make sense, but like I said, there's a couple teams in particular. Well, like I said, 8 teams in particular. I want to just kind of talk about and just kind of and where it should go. But I think the next team, if you looked at some of them, it's just not looking great, especially for the Oakland A's. Soon to be Las Vegas Athletics, if I be quite frankly with you. The next team on the list I want to show, actually, and that is the St. Louis Cardinals. So the Cardinals are going to be very interesting. Obviously, they did bring back Adam Waino. Let's just wait for that to load up. I should take this out. I wish Jose, but really, I think from what we've understand, if Painter is going to be the guy for the number 5 spot, it's most likely this is what's going to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But the question is, how much really for $720,000? No, that's nowadays. That's kind of very cheap for a lot of starting pitchers nowadays. That's very cheap. So looking at what the rotation's looking like, you have Waino. Crap, he's 41. Yeah, that's true. Been there since 2000, but traded for Atlanta in 2003, and obviously definitely going to be that ace staff until the day he retires. Where he had 2 the all-time greats from St. Louis retire. You also have Miles Michaelis. Not terrible, but Michaelis does have his inconsistencies at times. With Waino, you had a 3.71 ERA, 32 games started, 191 and 2/3 innings pitched, strikeout 143 to 100 to 54 walks, and the one in particular I think could be the next ace of the staff. I think he could be But Jordan Montgomery, after getting traded traded from the Yankees since coming over to St. Louis. Damn it, Mitch. No, we don't, we're not doing that now. But like I said, you got 2 first-round picks, obviously Wainwright and Flaherty. Flaherty, we really haven't seen much of because I think he's been dealing with more than a few injuries. So, if you looked at the staff right now, Flaherty we'll get to your Rangers in just a second because that's another team I would have on my list in terms of trying to bring in a guy like Trevor Bauer because let's be real, I'm going to have not tear him apart, but kind of just show. So Wainwright, so go back to Adam Wainwright. Right now, posted a 3.71 ERA, 191 2 innings pitched with 32 games started under his belt, strikeout 143 to 54 walks. Then you had Miles Michaelis, not a bad season either, though. 3.29 ERA. So you had 3 starters that had 32 games started. So you had Miles Michaelis, like I said, 200, pretty much was a workhorse for that rotation in the St. Louis. 202. The fact that you've been not great for quite some time is, like I said, we'll get to the Rangers in just a moment. And because, like I said, go back to what I said about with the Cardinals, the rotation. Like I said, the only young guys you got, especially for the Cardinals, is Flaherty. Only right now, so the prime of his career. You have guys like Michaelis not getting any younger. You have Montgomery just entering the prime, certainly in his prime years. Waino, how much left does he have? He have left in the tank, and I want to give Jordan Montgomery a lot of credit though for coming over so far to finish out 2022. Posted a 3.48 ERA, 178.1 innings pitched, scattered 36 walks, 158 strikeouts. Now Flaherty, I know his ERA is a little bit high. Like I said, it's a bit of a short sample size since he was coming back from injury. 33 strikeouts to 22 walks. I'm going to give him a bit of a pass because of that. It's really hard. And Steven Matz, Steven Matz just fell the hell off. At some point, if I'm the Cardinals, I would try to at least make a push at the same time for Trevor Bauer because, like I said, Steven Matz, let's be real, kind of fell flat in terms of what he had to offer for the Cardinals. But wouldn't it be bad? Wainwright, Michaelis, Montgomery, Flaherty, and probably have Bauer at the 5. I wouldn't have no problems with that if you're a Cardinals fan. But in particular, though, Trevor Bauer, though, the way that I could say this is that, people think he might be a distraction and stuff like that. At one point, that could be true at times. But I think you also have to think of this, too, that the MLB has a shit way of marketing their players, basically. And it's stupid. It's way stupid. It's just how, let me just see if I can actually fix this really quick. But, I'll get more onto that in just a second. But like I said, it's ridiculous just how the MLB is not really marketing their players as well as people would hoped. But the one other team I could say could, I think the Padres might be done looking for starting pitching. Because there's another team in particular that I think that could make a push for him. And this is an American. Yeah, I agree. Well, like I said, I'll talk more of that on the Philly Stop podcast probably tomorrow at the same time at 4:00 Eastern time. So you guys want to make sure you tune into that as well. I don't think the Astros would ever, because the thing with the Astros is, even though they really didn't have spent much in free agency, and they really don't need to. And because why I say that is, you have guys in their farm system that the Astros have done very well of developing. From what I'm seeing, something on Hunter Brown, I think this kid's going to be a really, really good piece in that rotation here. You got Frambo Valdez at the top of the rotation, Christian Javier, Lance McCullers at the 3. I do from time to time, but Matt, what's good further AM? But going back to what about Matt Verling though, Matt Verling has just been inconsistent with, well, offensively anyway. He wasn't really great offensively, and now actually bringing it up for the Angels. Oh, yeah, that's their bullpen. So this is basically what they're. Actually, let me kind of zoom in on this actually, so you guys I can actually see it. But like I said, so far you have Shohei Ohtani being the ace. Hear me out, Arku. You gotta hear me out on this one, because afterwards, the fact that we're going to might see, we're going to see a new owner for the Angels. But I think that Angels is another team I could definitely 100% see pushing for Bauer, because they need pitching. I mean, pitching is what they need, and definitely use a couple extra bats here and there. But look at the rotation so far for the Angels. You have Ohtani being the ace right now. You got Anderson, newly acquired Tyler Anderson. Actually would not mind. I mean, at best, Tyler Anderson is a number 2. Jose Suarez for me, I mean, not a bad option. But if you really looked at it, I mean, yeah, got like 3 out of the 5 actually had really good seasons. I mean, Shohei just is Shohei. I mean, what is there to say? A 2.33 ERA and 28 games started, 166 innings pitched, 44 walks to 219 strikeouts. You also had Tyler Anderson also posted a 2.57 ERA since coming from the Dodgers, and 28 games started, 178 and 2/3 innings pitched, 34 walks, 238 strikeouts. Well, we'll see, but I mean, I know there's going to be people that want to see Bauer has his career wasted, but like I said, and for those who are just coming, yes, I'm going to, and I have actually said this, I think more than multiple occasions. I know there's probably going to be people who miss me swearing like a sailor, but since being monetized for this channel, though, yeah, we're going to be trying to be a little bit PG, but there's going to be there's going to be some instances where some might slip out not say every so often, but every once in a while. But I mean, Angels is not a bad option, but I think another team I don't think people are really kind of much talking about getting pitching is the Washington Nationals. Now, the Nationals, well, maybe look at the season that they had, is yikes. But let me actually see. For me, like I said, I mean, wait, yeah, I agree. I mean, think about it. We have guys coming up at the right time, and that they're major league right. We're going to see them in major league camp at some point. Andrew Painter in particular has been one of our talked about prospects is going to be making his way up to the big leagues at some point. Probably, if we're going to have to give like a timetable realistically because of how everything has gone on, probably late May, early June in that time frame. And the reason why I say that, because I mean, you're going to have to give this kid a lot of opportunities to show of what he can do. And to be quite frankly, though, I do think, that's something that, but let's see. Let me just do boop, boop, boop. And let's bring up the screen for the Washington Nationals. So as the rotation stands, with their starting 5, you had Josiah Gray, Patrick Corbin, Trevor Williams. I even forgot they brought in Trevor Williams, if I'd be quiet, frankly. Kay Cavalli and Mackenzie Gore. Now, Mackenzie Gore, I think he's going to, I mean, at least got somewhat of a young rotation outside of Patrick Corbin, who sucked last year. I mean, if you really be quite frankly, now, let's see, who's the 4? Kay Cavalli, I think we're going to give a bit of a pass, though, because it is a really short sample size. Well, we don't know exactly for sure, but we'll talk. We'll do. I also got the NFL talk coming Tuesday as well. So right now, it's just kind of not going to spend too much on talking on Trevor Bauer, but just kind of seeing where which teams should make a push for him. This is kind of what the idea really is. But if you really look, I mean, Josiah Gray has some really good stuff, but at times just cannot. Well, yes, not just that too, Jose. You also got to think to the. Yeah, you got to think to. Look, as much as I want Mike Trout in Philly, but the problem that who knows what the updates on Correa at this point, because it seems to me like whatever it's what's taking so long, it's pretty much like been like a lost cause right now, and it's not looking good for the Mets, if you're really quite honest, because look, I think Eduardo Escobar is an okay player, if I could be quite frankly be honest. Because Eduardo Escobar, to me, from what I saw last season, not great defensively. I mean, he has always had issues as a defender, but he's also has a really decent bat to have in that lineup. And like I said, I mean, and this also sends the fact what I said this too. If David Wright didn't have some of these lingering injuries that kind of cut his career short, who's to say? David Wright's one of the better third basemen that the Mets have had, and to quite frankly, I do not know what's going on. But Josiah Gray. But looking at it, Josiah Gray 25, that would be cool. But yes, I think too. Like I would rather, as much as having Trout and Phillies pitcher is probably the best imagining thing. Number one, it's going to be hard to really move. If I'm the Angels, it's going to be hard to move that contract. And, we've spent, I would not mind that. Number two, we already have our center fielder in Brandon Marsh. We're still developing him as well, along with some of these other young guys we're having coming up as well. Three, Trout does have a history of injuries at times. And I really hate to say that he's injury prone, and it's becoming obvious that he's injury prone. I mean, look at last year. He missed most of the season with a back injury. And that's something I don't think, we want to really take a risk at. But I could be wrong. But like I said, go back to what I said. Outside of the number 3, outside of Trevor Williams, coming from the Mets, mostly like a bullpen arm, it just had I would say not say better stats in turn. It probably had the better ERA out of the 4. Like I said, K Cavalli, like I say, going a bit of a pass because he short sample size. I think that can be translated into what his full season is going to be looking like, and then we'll kind of really see it from there. Josiah Gray, he's got to get better. The thing with Josiah Gray, the only issue I see with him is he has a lack of control problems. The stuff is there, but it's just the control problems with Josiah Gray is always the biggest issue. Even though a 5.02 ERA in 28 games started, not a bad strikeout number, 154 to 66 walks, but that walk, even though it may be in the double digits, but that walk total is a little bit too high for me. Now I'll say, and Patrick Corbin, who's right now they slated as the number 2, projected as the number 2. Oh, good God. Where do I even want to start? That given that extension, I thought was probably one of the worst moves that the Washington Nationals could ever make. Because look at that, 6.31 ERA in 31 games started, 152 and 2/3 innings pitched, scattered 210 hits, 49. Now the walk rate has always been actually somewhat decent for Patrick Corbin, but just for some reason, Patrick Corbin just seems very hittable. To be quite frankly, that's why you see that he's got 210 hits at that point. And, but I don't know. But if Bauer does not decide to go and decide to retire, that's his choice. But like I said, it's just one of those things that's like, you got to keep this in mind at the same time in terms of what you really want to just show for it. At the same time, The Nationals, I would not be surprised trying to look at Trevor Bauer. The Angels could be a possibility. Maybe the Oakland A's, but I doubt it because if they ever want to spend any money. Cardinals, that could be a maybe if they decide to make a push for another starter. But there's a couple other ones. But now, like we said, let's kind of take a look at. Let me just grab the side scroller. Where are you at? Let's go to the Texas Rangers, ladies and gentlemen, because actually, I'm not going to say that the Rangers could use Bauer, but I really want to talk about the Rangers a little bit as well. And this is going to be interesting. This is going to be one of those things that's like, so you can kind of just talk about the Rangers. But you also think this too, Jose. You also got to think too, like Trout does have a history with injuries, mostly in that lower back, which has kept him out for most part of last year. And the fact that he still pulled off a 40 home run season is impressive. But now with the Texas Rangers, let's take a look at what they have to offer in their starting rotation. Obviously, you have DeGrom that they just brought in on a 5-year deal. And good. Finally, the fact that you had John Gray for A's. Let's be real. John Gray at best is in a solid number 3 in any top 5 rotation. And finally, they have projected John Gray to be the number 3. I mean, Martin Perez. I mean, you can't tell me the dude just had a really great season. And pretty much the numbers showed. If I can actually grab the damn sidebar on my other computer, there we go. With Martin Perez, I mean, a 2.89 ERA, 196.1 innings pitched, 69 walks, very nice, 269 strikeouts, pretty much the lead strikeout guy, even though Martin Perez isn't what the pitcher he used to be, even though he's the longest, well, I think this was the second stint. I guess not. I mean, it was a free agent from Boston. But he's been in the league since 2007. It's just fucking crazy. Out of that rotation, I mean, he's lasted longer than anybody else. And that's kind of where that longevity comes in. So he's going to be an interesting one to watch for the Texas Rangers because knowing that he really couldn't get it done with the Dodgers nor the Angels, if he doesn't haul up with the Rangers, don't be surprised if the Rangers will be that one sneaky team would make a push for Trevor Bauer and let's be real and kind of just I would say improve it, but at least get something that's somewhat decent that's better than Andrew Heaney because Andrew Heaney, from what I've seen so far, in some of his highlights is just not great. But I mean, look, DeGrom. The only sad thing about this is if he's going to have a really good season, he's got to stay healthy. That's always the biggest key with him. And I know that 5-year deal with the Rangers was a big risk, but if it does pay off in the next 5 years, I mean, it's a win for the Rangers. Martin Perez, like I said, I mean, probably the longest tenured in terms of the vets out of this rotation. I mean, almost 11 years of service time. Even though Evaldi, that's crazy. Evaldi has more service time than Martin Perez. So you got 2 established vets in Evaldi. Now, Evaldi, well, I wouldn't say he's not inconsistent, but he just had those inconsistent moments where he just, I don't know, just shuts off. And that's just the way that I see what we've seen in the past, and also another guy that has a bit of an injury history as well. So with Evaldi and DeGrom, for me, I think they're the biggest risk because of injury history. But when Evaldi is 100% healthy and ready to go, we see that he can be very effective. That's just how we saw it. And the numbers, not too bad numbers. I mean, look, what they have him at 4? Let me actually go back. Yeah, they have him at 4. Projected at 4 at 3.87 ERA in 20 games started, 109 in the third innings pitched, 20 walks to 103 strikeouts. Now, if you're going to have a really good season, I want to see the walk rate like in the high teens, low 20s. Because seeing something like this, getting close to the triple digits, it's not great. I wouldn't say that's a great season, but if he's just limit the walks, he should be okay. I mean, that's just the way that I can speak from experience and just, well, the numbers show it at the same time, but, but speaking of another thing that they could use pitching, let me actually take this off screen and kind of just talk about it a little bit, is the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays this offseason, good God, has not been great in terms of trying to pick up, their free agents. And the way that I say it is because, we had the Braves and the Blue Jays being absolutely quiet in the offseason. And, it's just something that I kind of do not like. But then again, you also blame that on the front office and stuff like that. Oh, damn it. Of course, Arku. But I guess I can see Arku's point of thinking there. But like I said, it's going to be hopefully if Fangraphs can actually load the hell up, that'll be great. Now, looking at the Blue Jays. Oh, what the hell? Actually, let me refresh this. Goddamn Fangraphs is bullshit sometimes. But like I said, the Blue Jays, the Rangers, it could be a possibility if one of their starters does not work out. Because I don't know what their minor league system is looking like. I know from what I've been hearing, like Kumar Rocker's kind of killing it down there along with Jack Leiter. So it's going to be interesting of looking of what. But I guess they really don't have much on the Blue Jays, so they'll skip the Blue Jays for now. But I think this may seem improbable. The one team that I think we could all, agree that, like I said, this team could be impossible or improbable to really make a push for it. All right. If Fangraphs will actually hurry up and load the hell up, that would be nice. No. All right. What the hell? I don't know. Like, I've not been here. I've been hearing like there's been rumors and stuff like that. Like I said, I will talk. I will definitely would have to giving you an update on that because I have not heard anything. No, I had heard no updates on Correa. I had heard updates on what the Yankees want to do. No thanks. But man, these damn ads. I'm gonna get an ad blocker on some of these. And yeah, that's the one thing I've heard as well, that the Rangers are looking at. That is true. The Yankees, Yankees left field isn't that great. Good Lord. You got Aaron Hicks, who's a complete bum. The numbers show it for itself. Brett Gardner needs to retire. It's just, yeah, Brian Rogers obviously did what asked for the trade from the Pirates, and it's like, and I can't blame him. Like, who wants to play for the abysmal Pittsburgh Pirates, for crying out loud? Okay, so the only two teams right now that Fangraphs has not updated for is the Blue Jays and the Mariners. So I'll come back to that if they do ever decide to update on that. But since we take it about the division rival of the LA Dodgers, while we get to that, man, not the Giants either. Man, Fangraphs, y'all gotta work. You need to fix your stuff here. But to really, I don't want to say put this in perspective, but the one team I think, and yeah, Bauer, like I said, the Yankees could be another option. There's just going to be some different options where I think Bauer. But then again, though, like, do the Yankees really need Bauer after the Yankees just picked up Rodon? I mean, you got what? Cole, who has, well, I'd say, without that sticky stuff, has been a shell of his former self. And I don't know. Look, and this is what I'll say about the Yankees. The only thing they need is better bats. That's what they need. Their pitching is fine. That's always not really the case for them. It's always been their offense. Look, Rizzo is not going to be. It's not the same person you used to be. As Judge gets older, I think probably after the age 35 season, he's not going to be the same. Yeah, and Donaldson and Hicks got to get their asses out of here, out of the Bronx. But it's just, to be honest, though, guys, the Yankees need better bats. That's all I think they could use. Could probably use a better catcher in terms of, could use another DH. Look, I like Jose Trevino behind the plate, but with him handling the bat, that's something that I really will call into question. Where we got our third baseman, and we already have our outfield set in terms of what we have. I mean, we got Marsh in center. We got Castellanos in right until when Harper gets back. And we got Schwarber in left. And Schwarber actually has been really decent in left, this past season as well. And, for me, I think Dawson needs to retire because Dawson has not. But it's like, like I said, when Josh Donaldson left Toronto after in 2016, I could be wrong. When he just forget about the year. When Donaldson left Toronto, you could see that his production has not been the same. Has not really been the same what he once was in Toronto because had its MVP year in 2015. It's just really has not really recaptured that since leaving Toronto. I mean, going to Minnesota was probably the big mistake as well to be a factor of that. Just playing with these teams that are outside of the Yankees, who I don't think is a sub 500 team, but put this in perspective, like if he does, at some point he has to consider retiring because he's not the same player, same third baseman as he used to be. That not that same bringer of rain. Where I think a lot of Blue Jays fans, not just Blue Jays fans, but just baseball fans in general, just remember as what Donaldson used to be. And Aaron Hicks, I mean, Aaron Hicks is self-explanatory. The dude just stinks, just flat out stinks. Not just, I mean, he's got a good arm, but that's all you're going to get out of him. That's all you're going to get out of him. No, I didn't say that. I said the Yankees are not a 500 team. Like all I'm saying is like I said, the Minnesota Twins. They were a sub 500 team, and Donaldson hasn't really done much either. And the fact that and this is where I do feel like I want to. Well, I'm not going to say it because I want to say what I think about Cashman because of the comments that he made on Giovanni Urshela, which I think the Angels are really going to be interesting with Urshela in that infield because y'all should just kept Urshela. I'm sorry, there was no way in the world you should gave up Urshela for a pack of peanuts, basically. And it's just one of those trades. When I looked at it and see the comments, he's like no Josh Donaldson. It's like, what are you going on about? Not just that they're going to have Aaron Boone. They just extended Brian Cashman. Hal Stein, God, George, I think pretty much George Steinbrenner is pretty much rolling in his grave. If this is going to be this inconsistency of not reach the postseason and become a first round exit almost each and every year. I like I said, I can't say, but I was going to compare the Yankees to the Toronto Maple Leafs because that's always been what they've been. It's been another about first round exits because the offensive weapons and look at the reason why I say that because the Maple Leafs, and now it's compared to different teams in different sports, but the way that I see it is the lack of offense that the Yankees have. I mean, Judge, yeah, and that's another point too. Like there's no continuity and just really being that way. Look, Rizzo, I think he's going to have another consistent season, but how much longer is he going to really put up with that? And, same with, and who knows with Judge and, after everything has for 2023. And outside of that, like, who do you have really to surround those guys? Probably, I mean, Oswaldo Peraza, maybe. Well, I don't know if Harrison Barrett does decide to, I don't know if the Yankees even decide to pick up. I don't think he had a player option, but I could be wrong. But, it's just one of those things. It's like Harrison Bader has been actually decent for the Yankees. Probably the best hitter in the postseason because, good Lord, like that entire lineup has not done nothing in the postseason. And this is why, like I said, I mean, the fact that the Yankees have not seen postseason baseball since 2009 when you talk about World Series, but it's kind of ridiculous. But like I said, man, this season's going to be very interesting for some teams. It's probably going to be below average for others. I think one team that's always they always have high expectations, but somehow fall short. Sorry, Randy, I'm going to have to criticize the Toronto Blue Jays because there's no way in hell you should have had this kind of talent. Now, granted, the back end of the bullpen kind of stinks, but I mean, outside of that, but then again, that is Ross Atkins and Shapiro not doing their jobs, but that's besides the point. But it's just, you had the Toronto Blue Jays who have actually a pretty good talent. It just could never get over that hump. I think the one thing that we're going to live down is them choking an 8-1 lead to the Seattle Mariners in the 3-game wild card series. But I'll leave it at that. But I do like I think Peraza and Cabrera are going to be really going to be good pieces for them, for the Yankees long term. But it's just like, I don't know. But like I said, we're going to have to wait and see how the season plays out for the Phils, Yankees, for all 30 MLB teams, because it's going to get interesting for most. It's going to be below average for others, and it's going to probably be right mid for a few teams. But like I said, man, Benintendi is no longer a free agent. But he did sign a 5-year deal with the Chicago White Sox. So, you guys know how I feel on the White Sox, because I trash them a lot. I used to try, not just me, but baseball fans in general. And rightfully so, because the White Sox stink. And probably that is a good question. Who would? Not really much. I mean, you have Leon Hendricks. Hopefully kicks cancer's rear end. I'm trying to think who else is even out there. Now that I think about it, that's a very good question. Well, at least we got Google. Let's see. We knew that Liam Hendricks is one of them, but I think he's probably going to take time away to, Trey Mancini is still out there, but the question is, where's he going to go? Correa, I don't think Correa's going to go to the Yankees. I mean, he's made that perfectly clear. At one point, I think he did said something, he does not like the Yankees at all. So, I mean, that's going to be, that's not a good statement to look at. I mean, you still got Brandon Belt still out there. Gary, and this is since I actually brought this up, well, we got some time because, I got nothing else better to do. But, at the positions, though, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. It'd be an extra bat and an extra bench piece. But with the remaining free agents that they have on the market for the catcher is still Gary Sanchez, since most of the catchers who were free agents are off the board. Brandon Belt's still out there for the first base position. Josh Harrison, if anybody's looking for a second baseman, a veteran second baseman, is still out there. Jose Iglesias is still out there. Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson is still out there. I didn't realize he was a free agent. So that's news to me. But obviously, still 29 years old, but has dealt with the injury issue. So Brian Anderson is still out there. Very good bat, decent glove. Jerickson Profar is still out there. So we're going to have to wait and see because, I mean, he's right now in terms of a Provor's caliber, probably the most his market. He's got a better, higher market value for left fielders for those remaining that's out there. Yeah, well, not talk about, Herrera. Adam Duvall's still out there in terms of free agency for the right fielders. Like I said, Trey Mancini's out there for the DH. Michael Wacha is out there for those who need others. Starting pitching. Surprisingly, Michael Wacha actually had a really good season. 11-2 with 3.32 ERA and 23 starts. If that even happens, the Padres will be dumb enough to be pulling that off. But I think at best, Tatis right now should just be a DH because this glove absolutely stinks. He's just a below average defender. I mean, it's like the dude. Hey, could be true, but it wouldn't hurt if you guys could have used an extra bullpen arm. Because take it from us, we traded for Gregory Soto for crying out loud. I mean, it won't hurt to have an extra bullpen arm. Speaking of bullpen arms, Andrew Chavin's still out there. Had a successful year in Detroit, even though who does want to play for Detroit? Finished with 2.83 ERA. Tatis is a good player offensively, but defensively, he is just horrible. I mean, if you looked at his defensiveness, I mean, the eye test sometimes says it all, but who's to say? I think who's to say they can fix that? But yeah, so Andrew Chapman, if you look for a bullpen arm, he's still out there. Michael Wacha is still out there for starting pitching. DH, Trey Mancini, even though has not really done much since coming. I think from coming back, just really hasn't really kind of find his groove. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but you just do need a better third baseman, I would say. But at some point, you're gonna. This is where I will criticize the Yankees organization. At some point, you're going to have to start using your bring up your farm system and giving these guys a chance to really grow and see what you guys got in the farm system. Because from what Volpe's been kind of killing it down there. It's at some point that's always been my biggest issue with some teams not wanting to give their young players a chance. Like I said, I mean, like I said, it won't hurt because take it from me. Like we added Gregory, we traded, 3 guys who we're not going to see any playing time for a guy, Gregory Soto and Cody Clemens. Now, Cody Clemens is, well, not a huge fan of it, but I think he could be a better bench piece than people might realize. Well, Machado might be is going to be opting out after because I think he hasn't opted out after this season, which I think that does going to take place. But who's to say? I think he might be looking for a bigger bag. Well, you'd be surprised. Machado, even though he does play third, since coming up, like he's been majority of a shortstop for most of his career, and with the kind of arm that he has, I mean, he transitions to third and. He can do both. He can play short and third if you really need it. If you need a shortstop, you really need to. Machado could be that guy or a third baseman. So we'll see how that goes. Because I mean, you got to wait to see how this season turns out. Because if he does opt out, I think for a lot of these non-baseball fans, and that is a very good point too. I will agree with that. Judge needs goddamn help. Because it's like you're going to have a guy for the next 9 years playing over $40 million, and you can't get this guy help. Look, Rizzo is okay, but like I said, he's not the same player as he used to be during. But he has been very consistent with the bat, and it's just like, Rizzo, like I said, very consistent, but like I said, the production has not really been what it once was during the time of Chicago. Now, he has been on the best Chicago teams for most of his career. I think a lot of people forget he was a Padre at one point. And it's just like, but yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, that's something but I'll probably whoever a team needs a catcher, and the fact that someone picks up Gary Sanchez, I think we could all laugh at that team, whoever picks him up. And that's what I'm saying. Rizzo is a consistent hitter, but it's just like I said, his production at times he has seen that his age sometimes catch up to him at times. Now at times, like and when he first came to the Bronx, it was no, I don't think it was a bad thing. Even though the first base was hasn't really been decent, has not been terrible, but could have been a lot better. I think after Mark Teixeira left, Mark Teixeira for me, when I remember, like he was actually not a bad first baseman for the Yanks, from what I remember. Well, I think after he retired, it was I think it was just hard to find someone to truly replace him. Greg Bird at one time, which wasn't great, for if I'd be quite honest, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what these other free agents do, or if they decide not to sign. But that's going to do it. At the same time, but yeah. So talk a little bit where Bauer was going to go. I think it was Urshela, and actually, that's the one thing I actually want to kind of talk about. Let's talk about the trade on that, because let's see. Okay, so you guys got IKF, and they also received catcher Ben Wardvet and IKF with Donaldson. Let's see. That was part of you guys. So to really get this trade, so you pretty much gave up Josh Styles or Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela to the Twins, and for Donaldson, IKF, and catcher Ben Wardvet. So that's pretty much what the Yankees give up for a guy like Josh Donaldson, who actually, not looking at it. Let's see, what is this? Oh, yeah. So that's gonna not looking great. Actually, now that I think about it, let's kind of look at this contract. I mean, look, blame Cashman for that, because that was just horrible. Looking at Spot Track, because Spot Track, 4-year deal. Oh my goodness. No, get out of here. Damn newsletter. But he does have a vested option in his age 30. Oh my goodness gracious. So Yankees fans, y'all are stuck with him the next 2 seasons after this one. I mean, Gary Sanchez was inconsistent. That's all I'm saying. Like, Gary Sanchez wasn't terrible, but he was just super inconsistent. Like, I think the coaching staff tried to do the much they can to help him, but it just unfortunately didn't really work out. Now, I actually want to bring this up, and I can actually show you guys what the remaining contracts look. Oh, God damn it! So I have an Opera GX browser, so it actually hit the wrong button. Well, that's a quick question, but if you do, what does that give you? I mean, with MLB baseball, I think the only sport that does not have a cap. I don't think that's really, but if you do waive him, you're going to at some point have to pay whatever the remainder of his contract is going to be. But like I said, I am going to actually bring up the contract details, and I don't think the Texas Rangers need a catcher, because Jonah Heim, I think he's going to be pretty much their long-term guy. Oh, and that's actually not what I want. Give me a second. That's the wrong tab. Because I'm using a two monitors setup. Matt Carpenter did sign with the Padres. It was only a 1-year deal. All right. Let's just kind of zoom in. I've seen Chris Young. I think Chris Young's one of those guys I do know. I remember a lot. Now, so we got TCU. Well, yeah, I'm going to be live for the college Natty as well. But time to go over. So he did sign a 4-year contract with the Twins in 2020. For 21 million. Good God, 4 years, 92 million. That is just garbage. You never know. And you also don't forget, you also got the trade deadline too coming. That's another part where you can make moves as well. So in case, I don't know, if you can't really make not much of it, but looking at this, like I said, I mean, he won't be a free agent until he's age 39, and when he turns 39 in 2025. So the Yankees, you're pretty much stuck with him till. And shout out to Daniel Barry for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that since getting a part of it. So, it's just one of those things, looking at it, because I'm not laughing at the Yankees fans, but unfortunately, you guys are stuck with him after 2023. But at least you got 2 more years to deal with him. And that's what I'm saying. Like, who wants his goddamn contract? Like, this is ridiculous. The fact that, like, first of all, he is not, let's be real, he is not worth $23 million. I'm going to put this out here. Josh Donaldson, if you talk about prime Josh Donaldson, I think that prime Donaldson, if you're going to have to put him on a market value on prime Donaldson, probably 30 plus. But at this point, at the age, soon to be age 37 season, really 21 mil? I'm sorry, but he is not really worth that to me. I don't think he's even worth that going to be. That is a very good question. Who does have the most cap space? Well, yeah, I think I would definitely say the Mets, but the Mets are going to be paying a ton of money in terms of the penalties. I don't know exactly how they work, but what I do know is, and Spot Track does that job for us. Who has an option and whatnot. And it's just like one of those things, I would say it's just, that's just not great. Let me just that's a very good question. And shout out to Almighty actually for an interesting question. Who does? It does not, but at some point, there's always been rumors where the league itself is trying to implement like salary cap, but the Players Association is not having any of it. And, I don't mind it. Not, like I said, not, with the amount of spending, but really, I just do not want to see a cap on this league. I really don't, for as long as this league is. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's very, Donaldson is not worth that really much to be, I would say, not what he once was. And it's just like, oh God, if I could, because right now, like I said, I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. I agree. Well, at that point, if you do decide to do that, Hoskins will be a rental. I'll say Hoskins will be a rental because he is a free agent after this season. We did give him like an arbitration 1 year, 1 year deal to avoid arbitration. So technically, that really doesn't really apply. But by the time the season is over, he's already a free agent as it is, and he's another guy that's getting up there in age. So to answer Almighty's question, the Mets right now have now we're actually can talk a little bit of payroll, if I'm going to be quite honest. Let's just open this up right now. Yeah, boom. Take the don't share tab audio. All right. So looking at, I would say right now the top 10 teams in terms of cash space, definitely got the Mets at $266 million. They have retained over 31 mil. The Yankees at number 2 at $230 million. $669,47. We're 195 million, since we did spend over almost 400 million this past offseason, so that could change. Padres 168 million, with over almost 12.3 million retained. Braves, I mean, what do we even say after how they've been super quiet? They retained 10 million, but that's really, I mean, like I said, I mean, that's pretty much what your payroll is looking like. But Arku, if you're still in the chat, your Texas Rangers is number $667,650,000. Yeah, the Dodgers ain't doing well. The Braves will be dumb enough to really trade Max Fried, but Max Fried will be a free agent after 2024, because I think they did get like a 2-year extension or 3-year extension. I don't know exactly what they gave him, but he will be a free agent until 2024. Says, since losing out, since they lost Dansby Swanson, they probably might lose him after 2024, but I wouldn't be surprised. But he's probably going to be a lifer. I just have a feeling. The Dodgers, 143 million flat, not really doing much for them. The Angels, the Rockies being in the top 10 is crazy in terms of their payroll, but they have remained 16 million. No. Well, that remains to be seen, because, like I said, take rumors with a grain of salt as you will. That's just the way I look at it. Because if you can, but like I said, we got the Astros. Like I said, they really didn't mean to spend that much money in off season. I mean, yes, they pick up Abreu, but they're still going to run it back with their homegrown guys, which I think a lot of teams nowadays should do if you do have at least a decent farm system to work with. Angels, they actually spent quite a bit of money. Now they got some money kind of tied up to guys that are injury prone. Definitely Anthony Rendon. I know that contract's kind of biting him in the rear end. It's ridiculous. Oh, and then actually the top 15 is not really too bad, but holy crap. Man, the Whites really not great in terms of money retained for the White Sox, under $150,000. Now there's the Boston Red Sox at $720,000. So you have two teams been a very absolute below average in terms of their talent wise and what they have done, have low money retention. Now you got the league average. Well, the league average, we can pretty much where most teams stand. Especially if you look at the like I said, I think it might be possible, but like I said, we have to wait and see who's going to want to. You got to think too, and Brian Reynolds is still going to be a great offensive piece. It's going to be a bit of a pricey asking point for Brian Reynolds, but that's going to be a hard thing to really kind of to see in terms of really just showing. If you're going to have to throw, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you're going to have to get Hicks, Donaldson, probably. Who else do you have that's below average? Just send over to ship over to Pittsburgh for Brian Reynolds, because I could definitely see that happening. Because I think that seems. If you could just do that straight up. Well, then again, though, like you're going to have to find. You got to add something to that package as well, because. Like I said, I don't really watch Pittsburgh baseball that much, as I do live near the Philadelphia area, but knowing Pittsburgh, they probably want a steep asking price for Brian Reynolds. But I would not be surprised if somehow the other teams that are willing, and then that does make sense now that I think about it. I mean, you could have Peraza or probably Cabrera at short. That's actually not a bad. That's not a bad package, though. But like I said, we're going to have to wait to see how if the Yankees do decide to pull the trigger on that, because, like I said, I don't really know much. Because right now I think the Yankees have like 3 below average players, like you said, IKF, Hicks, and Donaldson. But I think but then again, Pittsburgh would be dumb enough to really pull that off because they're just a team that well, it is below average. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the asking price is, but knowing that Brian Reynolds caliber, I don't know exactly what his asking price is truly about. What's it? No. Let's just look at the asking price for Brian Reynolds. Oh, okay. Well, I did find something that was recent from fansided.com. This was from 3 weeks ago, basically saying titled Pirates asking price for Brian Reynolds is enormous. Can any team meet it? So according to Ken Rosenthal, he actually put this in. This is from the part of it of the Athletic, which I don't know if anybody even reads the Athletic anymore. Was that the Pirates are willing to entertain trading him, but the price tag to be expected to be exceedingly high and similar to Juan Soto's during the 2022 regular season. So basically, what the Pirates are asking for is basically what the Padres gave up for Juan Soto, just a king's ransom, basically. And I don't know. But it's just one of those things. It's like, will the Yankees really decide to? If the Yankees do decide to pull the trigger, you're going to have to get up some minor leaguers as well in that package as well, because you're going to have to give up a king's ransom for a guy like Brian Reynolds, who, and the fact that he's inconsistent, but he had, but they probably want a couple of young players. They just want a lot from Brian Reynolds. That's all I'm saying. But it's just, like I said, are you really going to really take the risk? Because let's see, how old is Brian Reynolds? No, that's what because that's going to be, so right now, Brian Reynolds, you have him, he's 27. So if you can you got at least, say, 32 or 35. I'm trying to do the math here. I think if you get him, can keep him around till before his age 35 seasons, where you see that's pretty much where your out of prime years start to begin. If you look at 2022, according for his stats in 2022, he's played in 145 games, racked up 27 homers to a 262 average, 227 homers, 56 walks to 62 RBIs. The strikeouts hits a little high. That's sometimes the biggest concern with Brian Reynolds. Is his strikeout percentage, and the strikeout number is high at 141. But he had 142 hits. But I don't know. But we're gonna have to wait and see till what the Pirates want to do, or they want to move him at the trade deadline. So we don't know exactly for sure of what some of these other teams want to do before the trade deadline. But I don't know. We're going to wait and see. And and with Bauer, who knows with him? So some features we do not know is uncertain. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. But I want to give a huge shout out to Daniel Berry for being part of the Philly Sports Talk podcast membership, being a part of the membership program. If you guys what else want to be a part of that too, the link is in the pinned comment or in the link in the description down below. Because we actually had to redo the price points because YouTube wanted to, let's just be real, make it expensive. So we actually reset the price points to be cheaper for those who actually want to become members. At the same time, and you can also look at the merch shop is linked down below, and also check out the merch shelf store as well. But But with that being said, like I said, we have a lot of stuff coming up as well at the same time. Hey, not a problem, Daniel. Like I said, I appreciate you joining the membership program. We greatly appreciate that. But with that being said, hopefully everyone has a great rest of their afternoon, and I am out.